Let me fire an invite off to Bobby, and then we will get moving here. A second. Listen. Shoot, where's my phone? Make sure this got sent. Okay, very good. Oh, there he is. Got it. Hey, what's up, Bobby?
Hey, how you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. I just want to. Somebody posted in the Discord who wanted to know how to access this stuff, so I had to.
Yeah, we got a few new people today. Look, see what happens. They see the winning and they want to be a part of it.
Yeah, I guess. Hope so results oriented, but that's whatever it takes to get you in there. Hope you guys learn something and get better. That's all we can all do is just learn more, just keep learning and getting better.
Yep.
So I guess the big news. So Bam is in. And apparently, based on coach speak, Cade Cunningham has no minutes restriction.
Yeah, Cade, just even the rumor of that, I'm just going to play him in every lineup on both sides. I think I have one lineup on FanDuel. It's a cheap one without him, but I think we're just getting overly creative by trying to avoid him anywhere.
Yeah, I have. I'm gonna do. I'm gonna go over my ownerships in a minute.
Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say is that again the main bit of news that we're still gonna wait on is this Phoenix stuff, right? With
Well, we know Brandon Ingram's out now, which opens up and now we have probable on Devontae Graham. So I think Devontae Graham is a tremendous play.
Okay, that just came in.
No, that's been sort of the speculation. I mean, we know Ingram is not with the team, so
okay.
I'm gonna look. There's so many pivots to go to, and these guys can all get there anyway in the later games. That I'm just gonna operate under the assumptions of what makes the most sense to me. So,
are you playing
anybody doubtful? I treat as out.
You mentioned what's that?
Anybody doubtful, I just treat as out.
Right. You mentioned that you're playing Cade Cunningham on both sides. I'm not getting that much of him on FanDuel. You're playing like almost all of them on FanDuel too?
Yeah, I think if you're playing cash games, he's the number one guy along with Giannis that you start with your lineups with everywhere.
Okay.
If he in fact has no minutes restriction, it would be the worst fade ever.
Even on FanDuel at 5,000?
Yeah, he's like a 8K player, 7,500 to 9K, depending on which time of the year you catch him.
Okay.
It's his show. He doesn't even need to score. I think he's the lock, personally, and I think people just have the numbers wrong.
Okay.
If he in fact has the no what's it called the no minutes
restriction.
If he does have a minutes restriction, you don't have to lock him in on FanDuel. But I sort of love that I don't think everyone's going to play him on FanDuel, so I'm just going to do it.
Well, part of Peter's asking why so high on Bam.
Your projections?
Again, I don't know if you meant projections or whatever.
We haven't talked once about Bam, but
projections just are what they are. I have no idea where, why, but he's power forward eligible on FanDuel, which is pretty big, Let me see let me see what I'm getting of him on. I'm getting a lot of him on freaking DraftKings too. So I don't know.
I'll tell you something else. I don't think DeAndre Ayton's going to play tonight. I do think LeBron is going to play. I don't think DeAndre Ayton's going to play. So I guess you can do with that what you will. But I'm into taking the break and speculating. I'm not saying I'm going to be right 100% of the time, but I don't need to be. These guys still have a path anyway. The guy who it's the biggest issue for me on DraftKings is JaVale McGee, who I currently have 75% of. Obviously, I'm not going to play JaVale McGee, but I just leave 100 in all those lineups, and I play Herb Jones, who I'll tell you right now, the minutes projection on Herb Jones I think is way underrating how many minutes he can play here. I see him at 25, 26 minutes in a couple different places. I think he might play 35 minutes. In fact, he played 37 minutes in the last game. So,
who is this?
Herb Jones, 36 minutes without Ingram.
Yeah, I only have like one lineup with him.
What I'm saying is you play McGee, and then if Ayton plays, you switch to Herb Jones. You use McGee as your in your utility spot at 3,400, leave 100 at least on the table, and then you switch to Herb Jones if Ayton's in.
So do we like Herb Jones as a play though?
I'm playing him. Well, I just said that's what you're doing if you're playing JaVale McGee and speculating that Ayton's out. And yeah, Herb Jones is going to start. He's 3,500. He's just played 36 minutes in the last game. He's an awesome defender. He probably gets run even if they get blown out. He's the undrafted rookie darling this year. The problem is they have a few other guys like him. If you had no Graham as well, you could really argue for him because there'd be really short bodies. But without just without, I mean, he was playing. What was he playing? 28 minutes a game while we had. Let's see. No, he was playing. Let me just get his minutes right. He's playing 25 to 30. So anywhere from 22 to 32. But the 22 was foul trouble. He fouled out of another one within 25 minutes. That's really been what kept him off the court early. And I think he's a 30-plus minute per game player for them at this moment. So I think that the numbers are wrong. So therefore, look, he's not a high-volume guy. He's got one of the lowest usage rates. He's a rookie who was undrafted. But they like him. His energy, and he plays really good defense. So I'm using JaVale McGee. I'm not using him currently. I'm using – I debated between him and Thanasis, who I wanted to play. But Thanasis, I think, is going to get enough run to do enough on the court with all the bodies they're down. I mean, Thanasis played 32 minutes in the last game and put up 31 fantasy points while shooting 30%. So I think I ended up on some Thanasis a little bit ahead of Herb Jones. Herb Jones, I think, has a safer minute side. I think Thanasis is a better scorer. So I find that there's a lot of value tonight. So I also love Josh Hart. I think people are I don't understand the projections on him either. He's another guy that could play a bunch of minutes, and in these situations, he's like a double-double, man. He's one of the best rebounding guards we've ever, like, and I guess call him a forward, but he is like that's what they have him as now, as a small forward, power forward. He plays Ingram's position, and without Ingram, I would expect Josh Hart to not only start but play 30-plus minutes, and at 4,900, I think he's a really good play.
I have him. I know these are different prices in different positions, but I have him. At least his points per dollar or whatever, very, very similar to Devontae Graham.
I like both of them. They're both in my main lineup on DraftKings and all.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah. I have those guys. I do not have Herb Jones, but I do have JaVale McGee with if DeAndre Ayton plays, I'll switch over to Herb Jones. Which, by the way, JaVale McGee will probably be okay he's not the number one value guy ever, but in his 12 minutes to 18 minutes, which he plays sometimes, he just puts up roughly 5x, and imagine if he plays 24 minutes, he's going to probably get to 25 to 30 fantasy points, maybe even a little higher.
I want to ask you about another 3,500 guy, since you're talking about Herb Jones, at the same position. He was just showing up for me, and I wanted to ask you about him. What do you think of Cameron Johnson at 3,300? Love
Cameron Johnson if Ayton's out.
Okay.
So if Ayton's out, you have your pick. I think I prefer McGee because it's the obvious direct pivot. New Orleans plays a big center, so maybe it would make sense that McGee would start, maybe get 18 to 20 minutes. Cam Johnson in 26 minutes or 25 minutes could do nothing with the way Phoenix plays. But he also can shoot his way into 30-plus fantasy points. So I like both of them. I think you're really gaining something if you try to not take the early value. The only early value that I have in my main build on DraftKings is Cade Cunningham. And Thanasis. But I even am questioning whether I'm making a mistake with Thanasis and not waiting. Because if we do get Ayton out, I think I would prefer having the combination of McGee and Cam Johnson ahead of Thanasis and Herb Jones.
Are you playing any Bobby Portis?
I had to come off of it a little bit. Like, I think what I have him in like 2 out of 12 lineups.
Mm-hmm.
But I really love the play. I just can't commit to that when this other value is there, you know. The Brandon Ingram thing to me is I'm treating that as a very big deal, and I'm also speculating a lot of other later value.
Yeah. I have another guy who I have just way too much of. Actually, you know what? It's not as much as I thought it was going to be. I thought I was going to have a whole bunch of Mike Conley, but I'm not actually. Okay.
Yeah.
I
ended up on, you know, I like Mitchell in that game a lot.
Okay.
On FanDuel, though, more. I don't think I'm going to use him on DraftKings. And I even ended up with a little bit of Jay Crowder on FanDuel. But that Jay Crowder, if I want to, can immediately become JaVale McGee or Cameron Johnson. Although I actually do have Cameron Johnson in my main lineup on FanDuel. And I don't have him on DraftKings.
You know what? That's where I have Conley. I have him like I have just a ton of him on FanDuel.
Yeah.
I don't think I need.
What's
do
his
I
price?
Need him? He's like 5,600, I think.
Pretty cheap. I'm playing. My FanDuel point guards are Brunson and Luka, and I even have one Westbrook one.
And Cunningham.
I'm using him at shooting guard, but yeah, whatever.
Oh, okay.
Same
Did you say
thing.
Hardaway?
No, I think Cunningham is a significantly better play than Hardaway. If we even think it's worth speculating that he gets the minutes.
You basically touched on all my pretty much my player pool as far as guards go over there. Actually, that's not. I mean, I have like a 10%er of like Kyle Lowry. I have 10% of like Jordan Clarkson.
There's a bunch of guys who are definitely valuable, so I can understand it. I'm just going very simple.
Right.
I hate. Look, I gave all the reasons why I was hesitating on the Luka play now, and now I have him. He's in all my big buy-in stuff.
Nice.
Because I just don't see any reason that he doesn't score like 50 fantasy points, even in a game that's a tough game like this. In fact, the tough game actually makes me like him better. The one thing to worry about a little bit is I was looking at Miami's opponents. Not only is Miami by far the best defensive team in the NBA, and arguably the best team in the NBA, Jimmy Butler has taken on this incredible, this challenge to go and guard everybody. When they came and they played Memphis, and Memphis beat them with a runner last year, Jimmy Butler started tapping the floor and immediately just got guarded Ja and did a tremendous job. Is locked in defensively, and I have no reason to think you're not going to have him on Luka. Now, I don't really care who plays against Luka if Luka really has the keys and is running. But if Jason Kidd, who's trying to get people involved and all this stuff, it worries me. But I'm going with it's because he's not going to be that high owned anyway. With all this value, I just think it's going to be right more often than it's wrong to not play Luka at home because we're afraid of Miami and defense. I just think Luka, if you can play Luka with Giannis, which I have no trouble doing, I think you should do it.
I have a good amount of the aforementioned Jalen Brunson. Are you, I say worried, but doesn't it seem like he's the guy that I want to get my 28 to 30 minutes off the bench? And when he's starting, it might not be as good of a spot for him.
Totally agree. Doesn't matter, really,
Okay.
Is my general answer. So I would say I don't have as much interest in him on DraftKings.
Okay.
On FanDuel at 4,600. He'll get plenty of minutes without these guys too, and he sort of does run the backup show. And we've seen him prove enough that he's an awesome fantasy producer. They're going to need shot creation tonight with the guys they've got available because they match up really poorly with this Miami team. But I feel like I say that every day. I mean, if you want the smartest bet, I mean, Miami's giving up 93 points a game this year. Why don't we bet on the under in that game? That seems like a logical bet to me, although I'm sort of taking a different route. Yeah, I like Brunson. I do have that game I have too many guys. I actually would like to get in to some Bam because I think that might be a little bit of something. I have Kelly Olynyk in my main lineup on FanDuel right now. It doesn't feel
nice.
Ideal though,
Right.
But I also have Donovan Mitchell, and I can definitely downgrade that position if I'm giving Cade this much credit, which I am. So,
the
name of the game for me.
The reason why I have no problem showing my builds right now is because this is just I guarantee you this is not what I'm going with.
Yeah.
There's just so much there's so much news that's gonna come one way or the other. that let me ask you a question. So do you think that when they built projections for, say, oh, I know the answer to this already, but if they build projections with Aiton, do they build it based on whether he, do they build it based on him playing? In other words, they don't give like a certain percentage of time playing and they reduce it by a certain, it's either binary.
Depends on the site.
They don't put him in. Okay.
Depends on the site. Both formulas definitely seem to hedge quite often.
Okay.
So it's sort of like the exact wrong thing they should do, in my opinion.
Yeah.
That's what they do.
Okay.
So, yeah.
But you guys know what I'm getting at. So like there's two ways to do it. Like let's just say that Aiton would be project for 40 fantasy points if he played, and obviously 0 if he didn't play. And let's just say that there was literally a 50-50 chance that he plays, which is not the case. But would you put his projection at 20, or would you just wait and say it's either 40 or 0? And the answer is it's got to be either 40 or 0. It's kind of silly to, you know what I mean? Because you're never going to get 50% of your production. You know what I mean? Like it's you're either going to play or you're not. So you just going to have to wait. And I was just wondering where if they actually hedge by doing that.
The only thing is from trial and error and looking at projections on different sites for my whole life. Like I always notice that every time a guy gets announced officially in, his numbers spike up by like 6 fantasy points, which is exactly what happened. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's completely illogical. It's a weird thing to hedge like that. I don't really. I mean, you could say in some cases that maybe the guy's limited if he plays, but They're not doing that because it happens in baseball. Like that's really a sport where it should never happen.
Let me troll some of my Discord to see if I can find any nuggets to.
I'll jump in and answer some questions and stuff in just a second. I'm just editing one line up here because I'm not planning on going anywhere. I know you might have to, but I'm
going to be back at least for that gap at like 8:30 or something like that, I think.
Yeah.
So what do we have for Frank's?
I also see that, like, I was looking at some of my, the top guys who write about top cash games and stuff like that, and it's interesting because I think like Gobert is the better play on fan. I think that Donovan Mitchell, sure, maybe he outscores Gobert more often here, but like it's weird because the position is so loaded. I think at shooting guard that I would rather play Gobert as the big man and on FanDuel. I'm just sort of going through that thing myself, so I mentioned that. All right, guys, I'll jump into what you guys' questions are right now. I'm sorry to get to them a little late. I wanted to talk through what we're doing.
Yeah.
So Cade not on a minute is a free square. Absolutely, he is. But if he's really not, my speculation is that when they say that, they're probably going to play in like 28 minutes or maybe the downside of 26, and that makes him a free square for me. So high, 7,500 is low. Bam is Peter. Don't spend too much time looking just at what a guy's done in his previous matchups as a thing. First of all, it's a game that's projected to be close. They've played. I'm gonna look at Miami's lineups real quick. See why Bam. I think Bam is actually the guy who's being overlooked today on DraftKings. I think he's a tremendous play, and he didn't only hit value once. I mean, we had that weird game against Indiana where he is in foul trouble for the first half. That otherwise he's easily over 50 in that game. And just try and explain and understand some of these things away. Why it would work. And the truth is that part of why it works is because Dallas has absolutely zero front line. And part of what works sometimes, Miami's really loaded. They're very deep. They're crushing everybody. And Kyle Lowry has been like the worst player in the NBA so far this season, and they're still crushing everybody.
Oh, he's been bad?
He's averaging 8 points a game and shooting 30% from the field.
Ouch.
He is getting assists and he's playing defense like they all do. But I think Bam is a reasonably safe play with upside. Although straight up, I would take Rudy Gobert over him tonight. But I do think Bam is a solid play. So that sort of answers a little bit of that thought. Thoughts on Jalen Brunson with him starting today? Like him a little bit less, but think he's still a great play. Brunson, in my opinion, on FanDuel would be a cash game lock, not on DraftKings for me. Sheets, would you agree with that? I know you don't play cash, but 4,600 in FanDuel seems like a good cash game play.
Yeah.
Okay.
I agree with that.
Ayton, I think we're on the same page with Ayton. You can take Joe Val on the other side of that game. I don't mind that. I just like Gobert a little bit better, but I think Joe Val's logical.
You like that?
I'm not doing it, but I completely understand it.
Right.
I don't like AD and LeBron.
Even if they're all in, obviously.
Well, there's no reason Westbrook would ever sit unless he tore something, and even then you'd probably have to talk him into it. Watch with me saying that something terrible might happen. Please don't let it happen to our guy. I do have Giannis as 100% lock. How about you, Sheets?
Yep.
Okay.
I mean, pretty freaking close.
Yeah. George Hill is fine. I have him in a couple of my builds, but I think there's a lot of other value that is maybe more speculative, but I think has more upside than George Hill. But I do think George Hill is completely fine and probably a better cash game play than a tournament play. Sheets, what do you think about George Hill at 38?
Yeah, same thing. And we talk about this a lot, and you kind of like, just remind me of this from time to time. That there's some guys that are going to project for good medians that are, as a result, pretty good cash plays. But if you're playing the stuff that you need to get ceilings, you don't want to use guys like that. And if you do, like, you want to make sure that at least the rest of your lineup has some juice. Like if I'm going to play, say, George Hill, I want to have something volatile to go with it. Whether it be maybe Kevin Porter Jr. I don't know. I'm just throwing names out of
Sure.
guys that are volatile.
Jalen Green.
Jalen Green. Guys whose medians are maybe similar, but just have just a wider distribution of outcomes. Like that, I would want to play George Hill in lineups with guys like that.
Right. The only problem I have with George Hill, also, the game starts earlier, and I want to try and save it for the potential value that could come. Now, could you make an argument George Hill's as good as that? Probably. It's probably not that far off. He has been right in that same exact spot every game, huh? Like basically since we lost Drew, and now even more so with Middleton out, he's been at that 20 to 23 fantasy points every game. So I certainly don't think he's a bad play by any means. I just don't think it's as great a tournament play as getting George Hill at 40% or Cam Johnson at 5% because of the late swap stuff. Maybe it won't be that low, but I'm just throwing out a number. I would rather take a shot on the guy who's going to could get me 35 rather than the guy who's going to get me 20. Do I like Cam Johnson in cash with Jones, or those are GPP plays only? Those are GPP plays only.
I agree with that.
Do I like McGee and Cam Johnson on FanDuel with no news? No. So no, this is all banking on the news. You better be ready to sub. That's what I'm saying, is that you've got to be ready for that to happen. Ayton could absolutely still play. Yeah, go ahead. I think if you feel safer with Hill, you can go ahead and play Hill. I think there's nothing wrong with that. A volatile guy like Hero, I think that's I mentioned him in our video earlier. He looks great and he's taking shots, so I don't have any problem with that. Not my favorite way to run, especially against a Dallas team that sort of plays a little on the slower side. But I think he's fine. I think I like that a little bit. Adam says if using Herb Jones, he's cheap enough that probably not. Wait, but there are any players directly takes production from him if he does well? Oh, does he take? So you're asking if he takes pressure? Yeah, we need to make these questions a little. So I think the best way to phrase that, Adam, would be like, does he take pressure off of? Does Hart or Walker take away from him, or vice versa? And that's Walker. Which Walker are you talking about here? Am I missing a Walker?
Nicole Alexander Walker.
Oh yeah. I'm sorry. Yeah, we'll call him Nah from now on. NAW.
Look at me throwing out a basketball player. Pretty good, right?
But no, it was great. I just never have. It's because it's not his last name. Like you can't look up Walker; he won't show up. You know what I mean?
Right.
He'll only show up if you look up Alexander. And then you have Shea Gilgeous-Alexander who goes the other. You know what I mean? And they're cousins, of course. All right. So to answer that question, Herb Jones doesn't really take away from anybody just on his face. Theoretically, if he's making a few shots, he'll take away from somebody at some point. That's pretty much all I got there. You might end up seeing a really weird lineup out of New Orleans tonight. And just they do weird things, and they've got Satoransky still there. They've got Garrett Temple still there. So I get why Herb Jones doesn't need to be played, but they are starting him, and he did play 36 minutes and play well in the last game. So he gives himself an opportunity. Again, I'm not playing him unless I have to pivot off of JaVale McGee. And even if I was doing that, I probably would prefer to do it to Cam Johnson.
I'll tell you, if you run any kind of freaking optimizer, Mike Conley's just freaking ridiculously cheap on FanDuel, like I was talking about earlier. I mean, you don't have to play him, but I'm just saying.
Right. I'm just trying to find out where he is 5,500. I mean, that is kind of crazy price-wise. He hasn't had 30 fantasy points in a game this season, for what it's worth. They didn't lose anybody. They have everybody still there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's the perceived. People are perceiving him, I think, more than he actually is involved in the offense. He hasn't had more than 5 assists in the game. He doesn't
What do
show
you do with what do you do with Dwight Powell?
I have a tiny little bit of him. I think he's fine though. I mean, they're going to need to play him minutes, and when he plays, if he plays 30 minutes, he should put up 20 plus fantasy points.
And you still like Michael Bridges a little bit?
I do like Bridges. I should have got to that question. I do like Bridges a lot. I actually was thinking about like even one build I had leaving money on the table, but I prefer Buddy Hield because I think there's upside for him over Bridges.
Ooh, I haven't heard that name all season.
You know what's funny is he's actually had a good season. 3 out of the 5 games he's had, he's crushed it, or he's beaten his value. Only crushed it once. He's going to shoot the ball double-digit times. He's going to give yourself a chance against Utah. That's good enough for me. I mean, that's everybody's perception of Utah. It's too much based on general overall team numbers. When you get a guy who's either a dominant offensive player, like if you look at all the top scoring performances over the last years, I guarantee you three out of the top 10 every year are against Utah, at least.
Really?
Partly, yeah, because good defense, that's what happens. Last year, I think Giannis put up 89 against them. I know Westbrook put up 97 in one game 2 years ago. Or was it 94, somewhere around there. Harden put up 95 against them. Lillard put up 75 against them in a game. Because it forces, when you have a good team defense that rotates, it forces the better players to have to take more control.
Right.
They switch everything, and then they count on everybody rotating. Now, if you're a good enough one-on-one player, you're going to be able to exploit that. It also makes the guys who are shooting from the outside, if they get hot at all, they're going to keep trying to find those guys more and more. I still feel like Buddy Hield is a little bit, doesn't feel like the greatest play in the world, but I do think there is enough upside for him in this matchup. And I'd have to double check his history against Utah, but I thought it was pretty good, actually.
So to answer some questions that people have had, and people always do this, like whenever, if ever cash big in something or whatever, because I'm pretty vocal about, that I use a combination of projections and SaberSim and takes and stuff like that. I want to address this because someone says, so you're just putting your projections in and just running with the lineups? Dude, I just want to tell you exactly what I'm doing it right now. Like I start off with my projections and I throw them in SaberSim and I come up in lineups. And then what I'm literally doing is I'm talking through this with Bobby and thinking about this and getting your guys' takes or whatever. I'm literally manually adjusting guys down and up based on what we're talking about. Like if I'm seeing here and I'm seeing that I'm getting George Hill in like 80% of my lineups, for example, and we start talking about it, I'm reminding myself he's really not a good GPP play. I'll like throw him down to 20% or something like that. We're talking about there was another guy that we were just bandying back and forth, and I threw him down also, and my lives are continuing to adjust that way. The projection is not the end of the world. I mean, look, especially for me, I mean, you need to have like a baseline to start with, but that's not if it was that easy, everybody would just do it, run optimals, and never lose. You know what I mean? Like you have to be able to know the game a little bit, and you have to be able to pivot and talk and do other things. So that's literally what I'm doing right now. Is I'm going through my initial builds and then literally adjusting up and down just based on as we're talking about it.
That makes sense.
And then I'm just when I'm satisfied, then all the news is gonna come out, and I'm gonna have to change everything again. So
that's what always ends up happening, isn't it? All right. Looking at what else we got here. I'm really struggling with last spot on DraftKings thing. Sort of tempted to try Jalen Green instead of Buddy Hield, so I can do that.
And you can all. And what did you say that
Green? Listen to his shooting. He put up 24 fantasy points in 30 minutes. He was 3 for 16 from the field. He was 4 for 16 in the game previous to that for 17. But then he was 11 for 18 the game before that, and he put up 48. You know what I mean? This is the range of outcomes you're going to have to deal with rookies like that. And I usually want to be on the side of playing those rookies. Yeah, I think I would prefer Jalen Green over those other guys, especially factoring in ownership and everything. But my builds are funny today because I'm building knowing that I'm going to have to make swaps.
Yeah.
I'm not building. My lineups right now are not. I could show you what they are. They're not going to be what my lineups are.
That's just what I said. I mean, before I said I have no problem showing you all my DraftKings lineups because it's just not going to be the same anyway.
Right. Thoughts on Jeremy Grant? Not for me, but I get it. You could argue maybe they really put their best foot forward in this game and like leave Jeremy Grant out there for like 38 minutes with Cade to try to make Cade's first, big game of, when they did win their first one with Cade that he played in actually. But I just can't quite get to Jeremy Grant, especially because Cade does technically take away from him, and they've also made Jeremy Grant more expensive than he's been all year long.
I want to see what the GPP looks like on Yahoo tonight. See what the first prize is. If it's 10 again, I might do it. Let's see.
I'm gonna answer Triple J's question while you're doing that. Am I playing Cunningham and Olenek together ever? Yeah, sure. There's nothing horrible goes either way with them, but I don't think it's ideal. I'm trying to get off my Olenek right now.
Well, I'm just curious what it is.
Grayson Allen's in, so is Giannis, which is
That's
a good sign, I guess.
Oh, it's the calm before the storm.
It would have been so funny if we had to take Giannis out after all that. And Giannis is out, which basically just means we spent hours on doing absolutely nothing.
Yeah, that's the NBA, right?
If that ended up being the case.
In case anybody's playing Yahoo, I just want to tell anybody what looks good on Yahoo after doing my builds here, which I'm going to do in 2 seconds. So right now I would have, nobody locked in over there. You usually have someone locked in on Yahoo.
What about Giannis?
Giannis is the closest thing. He's 90. I have 90%. I would have 90% of him.
How much do they make Cade over there?
That's a good question because I don't have him.
Not popping up. They might have just gotten ahead of it.
Yeah, I don't have any of him, so I got to see what his price is. I guess. Let's see. What team is he on?
Detroit.
He is. He's 27. So 27 makes him the same as Rashad Holmes, Jeremy Grant, Harrison Barnes.
Yeah, probably closer to where he should be.
Right.
But still not where you want, I guess.
Right. We're gonna play these actually. Yeah, this is pretty good. So I started this off with 200 at the beginning of football season, and I just literally play 20 lineups in football, 20 lineups in basketball, whenever I get around to it, and it's up to 710. And that's my Yahoo account. So
it's a pretty good return, man.
Yeah, 100 up to 910 because I'm in for 200 today. So yeah, like 9x my stuff on Yahoo since football season started.
Ooh, I finally found a build that I love finally got it on FanDuel.
Okay.
Wow.
You know what I'm getting a lot of on Yahoo? I'm getting a lot of LeBron actually.
I don't know the price over there, so it's hard for me to know.
Yeah, I know. He's 42, which puts him. Who do I put? He's a similar age.
That seems reasonable. I know a little bit about the price.
He's $7 less than Doncic and $6 more than Christian Wood. That helps. Anyway, that's what I got over there. You got a lot. I got a lot on Rudy Gobert, like across the board today.
Yeah, I like Rudy Gobert. I just I needed the extra 200 on DraftKings to go a little bit different.
How much? It's just a silly question. I was about to ask how much Booker do you have? Everybody in Phoenix is just stupid to even ask right now.
I like Booker.
I do.
I was debating between Booker and Mitchell, and I gave the slight edge out to Mitchell partially because Booker. That's the thing that always seems to be true about Sacramento, and it's all kind of they've played really well this year, Sacramento. For their, I don't even know what their record actually is at the moment. I know they've played really well. They still keep giving up these monster games to the shooting guards.
Okay.
Which makes Donovan Mitchell more appealing than usual. I would take Booker over him on DraftKings because the price difference matters enough. But FanDuel, you don't need to. Yeah, Herbert Jones is a long shot tournament play. That's what I've got about him, Herbert Jones. it seems like they're starting to bring some more people in this mix in the rotation in New Orleans, even without Ingram. But I think Devontae Graham is a tremendous play. I just want to keep reiterating Devontae Graham and Josh Hart are the guys I'm rolling with. And I have no problem with Joe Val if you want to go that route. No problem at all. A lot of tennis talk going on in the Discord today.
No, someone was saying they're going to the Rolling Stones concert, so I had to pop in there.
Oh, nice.
Jason asked me to go to the Rolling Stones concert.
Clay Davis has asked about Chris Paul. I have 0 Chris Paul today, but I have no problem. It's just it's a personal thing. In terms of ceiling games, there's only a few a year where he really seems to get there. His price is fine, but I literally didn't. I think that people always, first of all, they always play him more than I would. He's always more of a cash game play, and he's fine. But if you're asking me Chris Paul versus, which basically it is, Donovan Mitchell on FanDuel, I'm going to take Donovan Mitchell every time.
So I'll give you guys one public PSA, public service announcement. So on Thursday, I mean, if you guys are interested, I'm like I said, I'm pretty good at DFS. I'm pretty good at poker. Pretty good at a couple of things. And I encourage you to take my advice on DFS, and learning and things like that. But on Thursday, I'm going to be posting my an analysis video on the Breeders' Cup for this weekend. And that's almost certainly the biggest edge that I have over anything on the face of the earth, with the exception of teaching the bar exam, which is something different. So if you are interested in playing the Breeders' Cup, and it's the one time in the year, there's like 3 days out of the year where I can post my takes and it won't affect my price. And the Breeders' Cup is one of them. So if you guys are interested, I'm going to do it free for you guys. I'm going to put a video out on Thursday that's going to include both the Friday slate and the Saturday slate. It's going to be the opposite of what I do for DFS. I'm not going to be teaching you how to pick winners or anything. I'm just literally going to tell you who I like and what you're supposed to bet. Not going to get into why, if, that, and the other thing. It's just not enough time. I'm just going to just tell you who I like, what price I think you should be betting on, and where I think you should be passing. And let's just put it this way, if you're going to bet the races, I strongly encourage you to listen to what I have to say. If you weren't going to bet, if you feel like degenning it up, that's fine too. But I'm going to be putting this on YouTube on Thursday, and I'll post a link to it in the horse racing part of Discord.
Awesome, man. That's great stuff. It's worth it, guys. Take a look at that stuff. This guy knows his stuff, I swear. I did want to answer a couple quick questions of these guys. Triple J asked about a pivot off of Olynyk. I don't think there's an exact pivot. So always please try to say sites because it's hard for me. There's no exact pivot on FanDuel, but on DraftKings, like if it's in your forward spot, then you can switch it over to. Buddy Hield's 5,800 as a forward. You want just a forward or center? Like I need to know more information, I guess, on that one. And then John Jenkins is asking my latest feeling on LeBron going tonight. My latest feeling is that he probably plays. He had sent a tweet out late last night. I believe it was late last night. May have been a little earlier, but saying that he is excited to be back and playing basketball again or something along those lines. I don't remember exactly what it was. It's enough to read into. LeBron's a pretty easy narrative read, Cheats' best thing might be that, but that's usually one of my better things. And my guess would be that he plays tonight. Now, there's always a chance with the Lakers that you might see someone sit, but I would guess that LeBron plays.
All right, so what I'm going to do. So I think I'm good for the 7 o'clock games at least.
Yeah, for me, it's just the first one. I'm a little worried about not having more George Hill. It's weird to always worry, but like this always happens with me. I'm like, yeah, but he's so cheap and he's still going to play so many minutes, and he's always going to at least like get you there. But like so rarely does he ever put up a real game that you need, where he's not going to kill you, but he's not going to save you. He's a filler guy. Right. And I've got other guys I like better for upside than that. I've got to fix something, though, because I have Jalen Green in my main lineup on DraftKings. Partially because I'm stuck in that interesting price, and I'm not playing Olynyk because I'm playing him on FanDuel. It doesn't mean I can't play him over here. I don't love this Olynyk thing so much tonight. I don't think this is like you have to play him. I actually consciously went out of my way to try not to play him.
All right, so what I'm going to be doing, just so you guys know, I did this when I had time the other day, and I promised a few NHL people that I was going to do this. One of the problems with playing NHL is that there's line changes that just come in like right at the last 15 minutes, and it's usually right during the NBA. So I just can't change it. I just don't have time. But what I'm gonna do. I did this when I won the big slate last week. It's exactly what I did. I waited till like 15 minutes before, and I changed everything. I rebuilt everything and got my lineups in with like literally 8 seconds to post. And took the whole freaking cheese. So as long as I'm good with the 7 o'clockers, I'm gonna that's what I'm gonna do for the next like probably 10 minutes. You guys are free to hang around and watch and just kind of like troll me struggling over that. But that's what I'm gonna be doing. I'll answer questions if like Bobby, if you could talk them out, you know what I mean? I just can't see it in the Discord right now. That's all.
Yeah, I got you.
No big deal.
I do want to point out, like so you're saying you want a power forward pivot. So there's no power forward pivot. There's not even anybody in the same price tier as him really on DraftKings. So you just have to rebuild your lineup. You don't play Olynyk then if you really don't have another option in his price range. So that would be my answer to that. There's less reason to think Olynyk would get more run tonight than there is most nights.
There's less reason to think he would get more.
Less reason for him to get more run tonight. They don't need to play big. They've already got other forwards. They have another body out there with who's going to eat up minutes and usage in Cunningham.
I have a question for you. I'm asking you for a reason. What team does Semi Ojeleye play for?
Why? What is the reason?
What teams he play for?
Off the top of my head, I would have said Boston. That's why I don't like the question because
it's not. He's not on Boston.
Well, obviously not, but I don't know, and I would never. I don't know why.
Someone just looked it up for me.
He's playing tonight?
He's on a team that plays tonight, I think.
That's all I'm trying to figure out. Like I'm just trying to understand. It's sometimes the 12th man, and I'm talking about 30 teams rotations for 4 different sports. It's very hard to know who a guy who doesn't play any minutes and doesn't do anything when he does is playing for. Can I ask you why it's coming up though?
Yes, because someone had to take, and I forgot what it was, but someone that made a lot of sense told me that there was a guy who's like a value play who might not be as good of a play today as he was because it's the first time that he's playing where Ojeleye and somebody else are back and healthy. And I just forget who it was. Is Portis on it? I mean, maybe it was. I don't remember what team Ojeleye on. It would jog my memory.
I'll find out in 2 seconds. It's kind of a bad look, but it's like the truth is like this in the new season, it's really hard for guys.
I just don't know. I literally don't know.
Yeah. Projected to play 0 minute. I'm projected to play 1 minute for 2 minutes for Milwaukee.
So it is for Milwaukee. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. They were saying who wasn't as good of a play.
Now Portis might not be as good of a play because it's the first time that he's playing when Ojeleye and somebody else that might compete for his minutes are in the game.
Laura and Thanasis.
Yeah, and Thanasis maybe.
Yeah, I don't see Semi Ojeleye as being any factor in that one.
Okay.
I mean, Portis isn't going to lose minutes to that. He's not getting as many minutes as he was going to get because he's coming back from an injury.
Okay.
So I don't think anyone's taking anybody's minutes away.
Okay.
Top point guard on FanDuel. For me, it's Luka. I'm living and dying with it. There's too much value for me not to go there, so I'm going to go with Luka. I do like Hero on DK, Jamie. I like Hart on. Hart is 40. I'm not playing Hart on FanDuel, but I do like him still. There's no news you're waiting for in regards to Hart. Hart is going to play. Hart has the same role he had before. If he plays well, he'll play 35 minutes. If he doesn't play that well, he'll probably play 28 minutes. Yeah, they went with Thanasis, so that makes me feel a little better about my Thanasis play.
Who went with him?
The Bucks started him.
Oh,
which I
okay.
was questioning whether they were going to do again. It also makes Bobby Portis a better play. In case you thought, Bobby Portis is always a better play when he's not starting on that team because that guy is going to come in trucking.
Yeah.
Rodney Hood playing some minutes is probably the same, has probably a little more of an effect on the overall team than Ojale, but
Okay.
they're such insignificant minutes. And the truth, that's what scares me about the George Hill thing is that one of the, like, he doesn't need to bring, they don't need him in the game ever. Yeah, you know, Giannis is their point guard.
Okay, so
Cam over Herbert Jones, that's a good question. I do like Cam better than Herbert Jones if Ayton's out. If Ayton's in, they're very close, and you can flip a coin. But Cam Johnson is more the kind of player you want. Herb Jones has more minute upside if Ayton's in.
okay.
Why is Bam out? Is he truly out? Bam's fine. He's hurt a little bit. It's nothing you should be factoring in to your things. NBA players, unless they're like team coming back from an injury, they generally are there to play. Not everybody, but that's for the good players. For the great players, or a guy like Cunningham, who's rookie and never played, then they might take it easier on him. Noir or Thanasis, I never thought once today about playing Jordan Noir. So
No.
Now, could he do it? Sure. I think he's more likely to score 5 fantasy points than 20.
It's not good.
Not really 5. I mean, what's he been putting up? He put up 7 in each of the last 2 games. That's right where I would. Now he'll probably get 14 or 15. But you got to remember, even without Bobby Portis and without Thanasis starting over him when he was starting, you know, he did have the one opening night 29 fantasy point game. He only scored 20, 23, 17, 7, and 7. It's like the more players they lose, the worse off he is because they're not losing anybody at his position. He's always got a way to shoot his way into it, but I would definitely prefer Thanasis. In fact, I'm going to guess Thanasis is probably shot up as a better value even than he was, which he already was a really good value. More importantly, guys, tell me what to order for dinner. I've still got this stomach bug thing that I can't quite kick.
Oh, you're not on the fast anymore.
No, but at first I just thought that's what it was. I was like, maybe my body, because I took 2 days. It's been for 2 weeks that I was doing it. Not the fast, but I was doing a no carb thing. And I felt fine those 2 days where I ate carbs and stuff. But then I woke up on Monday morning and like 3 a.m. and I was just like, oh, something is not right. And it hasn't been right ever since. So Herb Jones minutes are just shooting through the roof. I wonder if anyone, I need to do a little digging on this. Did they announce a starting lineup?
I don't know.
Because I don't understand what happened that made Herb Jones. Oh, maybe. So you know what? I'm going to rephrase so I would say that I would take Herb Jones over Cam Johnson if Ayton plays.
If Ayton plays, okay.
If Ayton doesn't, it is close though. I mean, I actually have them the same amount, but in my main lineup, I currently have Cam Johnson, but I've got exactly 200 left to switch over to Herb Jones if I want to.
This is what it's come down to, huh? Cam Johnson and Herb Jones. This is what the day has become. Well, we'll see what happens when the Ayton news comes out one way or the other.
I think Herb Jones is a really good real life basketball player. It just doesn't translate to DFS all that often.
He did pretty nice for me the other day. I forget in what, but it was something.
That's going to end up being a decision point for me in my big buy-in one.
Okay. Well, we got to figure that out then.
I'm going to leave 200 on the table and see what, but I don't need to have Jalen Green in the mix. And that is what I've currently got right now. I do think he's a really interesting tournament play though. When Jalen Green is going to be unowned on these small slates, what's he going to be owned tonight? Like 10% probably?
Yeah, barely.
Yeah, I think that he's a really interesting play. I mean, Christian Wood is a really interesting play too, by the way, but I don't want to rebuild myself that much. I like my general core of my build. part of my decision making is that, and keeping Johnson over Jones for right now is I have 3 other Pelicans in my lineup. Or 2 other Pelicans in my lineup, and nobody from Phoenix. Yeah, it feels weird to play Jalen Green over Mike Conley, Buddy Hield, and Kelly Olynyk here. I still think he's a better play than they are. I'm not going to budge on this one. I'm going to keep it the same.
Yeah, I'm gonna be doing a lot of budging in like a little while.
Yeah. Yeah, I still like Brunson starting more on FanDuel than DraftKings.
You heard, by the way, that what's his name got COVID, right? The Middleton.
Oh yeah. Thoughts on J-Val if Ayton plays? I don't think Ayton playing affects J-Val hardly at all. I actually really don't. I think yes, of course it's better to play against JaVale McGee than DeAndre Ayton, but I don't worry about it enough with Valanciunas. I prefer Gobert, but I like Valanciunas. I always like Valanciunas, and now he gets minutes. Okay. All right. With that, I think we're almost ready.
Yeah, I'm good because, and just so you guys know, for those of you who were asking, I did update the hockey projections to get the most recent line updates, whatever that means to you guys. And again, I strongly encourage people that are playing to check back at, hold on, let me just see the time here. So I will make sure that sometime before 9:30, I don't know exactly when, but sometime before 9:30, I'll put an update based on whatever comes out of New Orleans, Phoenix. Actually, I'll tell you this: if there's no, if everybody's in, I'll say this: if Ayton's in, if there's no particular news coming out of there, I probably won't do an update. But if Ayton is out, or like LeBron is out, something like that, then I'll post something. Otherwise, just presume everything kind of is status quo. And yeah, that's about it. Anything else, Bobby? I think Bobby might have. I think Elvis might have left the building. What do you think that is, by the way? This picture of Bobby, is that his laptop, you think? Did he collapse? I know that James D says he has a splitting headache. You still like Brunson with him starting Bobby and Sheets? Sure, why not? Oh yeah, no problem, Adam. Yeah. Fortunately, there wasn't too much in the last 5-10 minutes before the 7 o'clock so I was able to squeeze that out. Tomorrow we're gonna put the NFL break first look. And we'll have NBA, we'll have golf, and then we'll have Showdown for Thursday. Lots going on. And big DGen weekend this weekend. Saturday, there's both the Breeders' Cup and an incredibly awesome stacked MMA card, which I might actually be going to at Madison Square Garden. We'll see how that goes. Yeah, I don't mind starting Bay with Cunningham. Cunningham's just so cheap that I'm not too worried about that. I don't think I'm doing it, but I don't think that, you know what I mean? But I don't think that you should not do it if you want to do it, if that makes any sense. I wouldn't mind playing Bay with Cunningham. I'm just not playing Bay. But I wouldn't mind playing him with Cunningham, if that answers your question. All right, and the NASCAR final also. Well, that's Wednesday. Whee! All right, lots of action. No, Wednesday? Oh, wait. When's the NASCAR? Oh, let's go Bublick. I don't know when the NASCAR one is. Let me just see. It's Wednesday? That's tomorrow? Oh, you said Wed. Oh, okay. Oh, Sunday. Okay. I have nothing else going on Sunday. And and real quick, just so I'm not don't get accused of not saying what I'm doing. I am playing the MLB Showdown tonight. I do want to win the last one before the season ends. And as you might imagine, there's just a whole bunch of 5-1s. And yep. And I have some Garcia in the captain. I have some Fried in the captain. I got all kinds of baloney in possibly in the in relievers coming out. I have 25% Chris Martin. We'll just see what happens. This is a great lineup. I have a total like Houston stack with one Chris Martin as the 5-1. That's the one that's going to win. Anyway, good luck everybody, and yeah, that'll do it. Oh, who do I leave?